scatter plot below indicates the number of sit-ups and push-ups completed by each student in Miss Jenkins' physical education class. If Mary did 35 push-ups, approximately how many sit-ups would she be able to complete? What you might want to do is draw a line of fit in here. Line of fit may go something about like this. You want about the same number of dots on this side as on this side, and you want to touch a few of the dots going up through there. Doesn't have to be exact. They said that she did 35 push-ups, so we go up here, and it looks like more across through there. Looks like she'd be able to do about 45 sit-ups. Maximum heart rate is the highest number of beats per minute recommended for a person while exercising. The rate is dependent upon the age of the person. As shown below, the relationship is linear. That means it's going to form a line. So that means however it goes up, it's going to go up or down by the same amount as you go down the chart. In your answer document, copy and complete the table. Write an education that can be used on equation. Write an equation that can be used to find the maximum heart rate for any age. Show your work or provide an explanation to determine your equation. So we want the chart, we want an equation, and we want a reason for the equation or the work for the equation. So the first thing I'm going to do is fill out the chart. Got age, max heart rate. And we're just going to fill this out down through here. So we got 10, 210, 15, 205. Notice each age over here goes up by 5. So I have all of that. Now, over here, this goes down by 5, so the next one should be 200. Next one should be 195. As you get older, your heart rate shouldn't get up as high. You young kids can have a heart rate higher than the older people. If your heart rate gets too high when you're an older person, then it's not a good thing. So by the time you're 50, your maximum heart rate should be about 170 beats per minute. Now what you can do with that is to write an equation. Y equals mx plus b is probably the easiest form. We could use point slope form. We could, this is slope intercept form here. We could use point slope form. Any of those would work. What we're going to do here is we could go backwards in our chart to find out where the max heart rate is 0. That's going to, where our age is at 0, that's going to be our y-intercept. That's our b right here in our equation. And then we can find the slope by subtracting it. So if I make this chart, I want to go back to 5. If I went back to 5, it could be up to 215 because we'd be adding 5 then on this column. And then at 0, it'd be 220. So if you're 0 years old, your maximum heartbeat could be 220. So that means B right here is going to be 220. Now to find the slope, we just pick any two of these. I'm going to pick these two right here. We subtract the y's on top. 210 minus 205. Subtract the x's on bottom. Got to do them in the same order, so it's going to be 10 minus 15. 210 minus 205 is 5. 10 minus 15 is negative 5. And that ends up being a negative 1. So when we write our equation, y equals mx plus b, we just put in -1 for M, 220 for B. That would be our equation. Three vertices of a quadrilateral are -1, -1, 1, 2, and 5, 2, which they've drawn for us. When used as the last vertex, which point would make the quadrilateral a trapezoid? So it's a four-sided figure because it's a quadrilateral. We want to make it a trapezoid. In other words, we want it to look, or we want it to have two sides that are parallel. These two sides would be parallel, and the other two sides aren't parallel. So it couldn't be like right here. If it was right there, that would make it a parallelogram, and that'd be 3, -1, which they don't even have on here. I thought maybe they'd have that on there. We want it to be a trapezoid. Well, if we go over from this one 2 and down to here, that would make it a trapezoid if we had that point. So that would be 7 over 7 down 1, 7, -1. Artie constructed a decorative planer using 10 4-inch squares attached to a rectangular base as shown below. So all these are 4 by 4. What is the volume of his planer? Volume is how much goes inside. So it's going to be V equals length times width times height. So we got to find each one of those. The length, this is 4, that's 4, that's 4. That means the length is going to be 12. The width, this is 4, that's 4. It means the width is going to be 8. And the height is over here. There's only one of them, so that's 4. We just multiply all three of those together. 12 times 8 times 4. And you get 384 inches squared, or I'm sorry, inches cubed, or the way they have it written, 384 cubic inches. So that's D. Marty bought 4 new books today. He plans to read 2 of these while on vacation. How many combinations of 2 books from the group book of 4s could he choose to read? You could just do something like this: book A, book B, book C, book D. There's other ways, mathematical ways to do it. But he could read A and B. He could read A and C. He could read A and D. He could read B and C. He could read B and D. Or he could read C and D. That gives us all the different ways that he could read 2 books. And there's 6 of them. So letter C there. Which equation is equivalent to this? Well, what we're going to have to do here is factor. When you factor, find the factors of the x squared. Well, that's easy. That's x and x. Then our signs. Since this one's a negative and that one's a positive, that means both of these have to be a negative, because a negative times a negative is going to give us the positive, and a negative plus a negative is going to give us the middle one that's a negative. So right away, we can get rid of that one. We can get rid of that one because they're not that in that way. Now what we want to do, remember when we do our FOIL on this, if we're looking at the answers down here, you do the FOIL, you do outer times inner. Outer, that's negative 80 times x, that'd be negative 80x. Inner is negative 30x. You add those two up and they give you 110, negative 110x. Well, we only have 100x, so that one won't work. This one here, that's outer is negative 60x. Inner is negative 40x. Combine those two and that gives you negative 100x. And that's what we have there. So the answer would be letter A. Which number is not a perfect square? Take your calculator. If it's a perfect square, then it has a square root that comes out even. And you just take the square root of each one. On my calculator, I just hit second. So clear this. Hit second, then this squared button, then I punch in the number 729. That one comes out even, comes out 27. Second, square root 1280. That one doesn't come out even, so it's probably that one, but let's check the others just to be sure. Second, square root 360. 60 comes out even. Clear that. Second, square root 5329. That one comes out even, so 1280 is not a perfect square number because it didn't come out even when you took square root. Diagram below shows the diameter of a wall that needs to be painted. The door represented by the shaded area is not to be painted. In your answer document, determine the area to the nearest square foot of the wall that is to be painted. Show your work, provide an explanation. So we're going to find the area, and we're going to show all our work. Those are the things that we need. We don't have a formula for this. We do have a formula for the door. The door is 7 times 3. That's going to be the area. That's 21. Well, we're going to subtract that off when we find the rest of it. The way you're going to do the rest of this is we can split this up so that it's actually in shapes that we know. I would split it up right like this. Now this bottom one is one big rectangle, and I would split this off. You have a triangle over here. Split this off. You have a triangle over here. Split it off right here. You have a rectangle there, and you have a triangle up here. So we can find the area of each one of those. I'm going to find the area of this rectangle first. It is not the big rectangle is 9 by 22, so we take 9 times 22. That's 198. That's this area, and that's feet squared. And let's find the area of this rectangle. It's easy. It's 2 by, and we just have to count there, 2 by 5. That means it's 10, so this area right here is 10 feet squared. Then for the triangles, the formula for area of a triangle is 1/2 times base times height. This one, the base, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it'd be 1/2 times 6 times the height, which is 2. 1/2 of 6 1/2 of 6 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. So this area right here is 6 square feet. This one over here, 1/2 times the base would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Count the spaces, don't count the lines, count the spaces. And the height is 2. I'm going to do 1/2 times 2 because half of 2 is 1. Then times 11 is 11. So this one has an area of 11. Then this one up here, the base, it's going to be 1/2 times the 5, which is the base. And then the height will be right down through the middle here, which is over here, is 4. And again, I'm going to do 1/2 of 4 because half of 4 is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. So that area is 10. Then we add all those up. It's 9, 14, 15, 10, 11, 12, 13, 235. So we got 235 square feet. But we still have to subtract off the 21 for the door because we're not painting it. That gives you 214 square feet that must be painted. video game company reports the sales of video games for the first 11 months. You got all this. The company's goal is to sell an average of 5 million games per month. What is the minimum number of video games the company must sell in the 12th month to meet this goal? So we got this down here, and we don't know how many they need to sell. What you're going to have to do is they want to sell an average of 5 million. So we take 5 times the 12 months. So that means they got to sell a total of 60 million games. That's our total. We're going to add all these up and then subtract it from that 60 million, and that's going to tell us how many they have to sell in that last one. So if we add all these up, 4.5 plus 5.2 plus 4.7 plus 4.6 plus 5.2 plus 4.7 plus 5.6 plus 5.3 plus 4.8 plus 5.2 plus 4.8 equals, we get, this all totals up to be 54.6. We're going to subtract that from here. So 60 minus 54.6. I have to borrow, that'd be 4. They need to sell 5.4 that last month to reach their goal. A local art museum charges admissions groups according to the following rates. Groups of fewer than 50 people are charged a rate of $4 per person. Groups 50 or more are charged $3.50 per person. How much money will a group of 49 people save in admission if it can recruit one additional member? So if they got 49 people, that means they're going to be charged $4 per person, so we can multiply that. 49 times 4, you get $196. If they had 50 people, then they would be charged $3.50 per person, so we multiply those, and you get $175. Subtract those two, and you get that they would save $21. This says triangle ABC, and that means similar to triangle DEF, so these two are similar. If triangles are similar, then their sides are at equal ratios to each other. Their angles are congruent to each other. What is the measure of angle D? Angle D is up here. Well, if we turn this triangle around so that it matches up correctly to that one, then angle D has to be the same as angle A, which is 37 degrees. If x is a real number, which statement is false? X may be both an integer and an even number. That's true. Remember, you got your little thing. Real numbers is everything that you know right now. Then inside that, you have irrational numbers and rational numbers. Then inside that, you have integers. And inside that, you've got whole numbers, which goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have counting numbers, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so on. X may be both an integer and a rational number. That's true. It could be in here. X may be rational number and a negative number. That's true. X may be both a rational number and an irrational number. Well, it can't be rational and irrational at the same time, so that one's not right.